Okay, we just want to quickly rebuttal some of these facts. They're saying that these pay raises went up $2.3 million, whatever is the size of the sum of money. But at the same time, they say they've only had 2 tax increases. So under Act 89, we, as drivers, all pay new taxes of $5 per registration fee or registration. So that's basically about $5 million in generation of revenues there. So the good thing they did Act 89 is now we can cover those increased expenses of labor at the county, $2.3 million, and we can also put that money towards covering our interest, which is scheduled interest. And I know it's financially, somewhat advantageous for lending grants, whatever, to people that wouldn't normally be able to access those funds. But collectively, as a taxpayer, we are still on the hook for those $2 million a year in interest that we pay. So we are basically no further ahead than we were just a few short years ago.
I ask questions. What market did you compare to what market? What positions were compared to what positions where? Because if you look around our county, and I did checked a number of the positions, like positions in our surrounding counties, and by and large, most of these salaries are now way above what the market demanded. We have something called, which is demoralizing, wage compression going on in Cumberland County right now.
Wage compression is going on now, not because of anything of the changes that have been made. Those changes don't take effect yet. They're the result of the old failed system. That's wage compression is one of the problems we are seeking to address with the overhaul. I don't know how you can defend the old system and say we should go back to the old system.
I didn't defend the old system.
Well, if you're not willing to entertain a new system, that means you defend the old system.
I want to get it right.
I would love to see a proposal. I've been waiting 4 years for that same proposal you ran on 4 years ago about zero-based budgeting. So someday we'll get around to that, okay?
I'm not 100% privy to all the discussions, the executive sessions, and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to criticize Mr. Hurstler or Mr. Eichelberger because I don't know all the facts, but I'll just give you a little bit of information on my experience with these types of things. Working 30 years in Highmark, I've always been given a merit increase, a pay for performance. We don't get cost of living. In our township, we have pay scales. We have job classifications. You have a minimum, you have a maximum, you have a midpoint. Same thing with Highmark where I work. We have, you're at a so-and-so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a minimum, a maximum, and a midpoint. The goal is eventually to try to get people in the midpoint of that salary range, okay? I think what the county did, there were good intentions. I don't have all the details. I don't know when the last time this study was done. But in my experiences with my jobs and serving as an elected official, we look at these things every 12 to 18 months. And those scales generally are slid up slightly. The minimum goes up, the maximum goes up, the midpoint goes up. If you're down at that minimum, you will get a little bit of a bump. Not a major bump, but a small one. We will have a new board in a few weeks. And I think everyone up here is open to, okay, let's look at what happened. No, I will be. And if there's something broke there, we can fix it. I really do.
Gary commented that the positions are different, and certainly I'm sure that there are situations like that. But children and youth services case managers are children and youth services case managers, whether they're in Cumberland County or whether they're in Dauphin County or Lancaster. Those are civil service positions. There are standard classifications of education that they need. There are standard classifications, as Skip could probably tell you, the duties and responsibilities of the children and youth system. There's an article I have here from WITF. Every other county in central Pennsylvania starts, depending on its size, starts a children and youth services case manager at anywhere from $28,000 to $36,000 plus benefits. Cumberland County, prior to this, was starting at $38,000, so we were already number one. We're now starting them at $56,000. Civil service positions, same duties and responsibilities. Now, what does that practically mean? Gary talks about unionization. I've said I've dealt with unionization 3 different times in my business. We have about 500 people in organized bargaining units. if anybody here doesn't think that they have paid attention with interest, you know, to those new pay scales, and when those collective bargaining agreements expire, that they're going to be lobbying for the same kind of increases, I think we're kidding ourselves.